Hello, I'm Terry David Mulligan. This is the Mulligan Stew Podcast, episode, 200 something, 4, something like that. I'm sorry, I haven't looked at the numbers. A little busy just getting the show ready. I have in my hand from Stony Plain Records, from Holger Peterson, the executive producer at Stony Plain Records, the new Duke Robillard album, his 37th. They called it Rhythm and Blues, the Duke Robillard Band. Lots of special guests, including John Hammond, Kim Wilson. Check that. Sue Foley, Sugar Ray, Nausea. And it's jump blues, my friends, as we will talk about with Duke after World War II. Jump blues, this sort of hyper rhythm and blues swing thing happened. The bands got bigger and better and louder. There were horn sections, real orchestras. But in there were the beginnings of rock and roll. It's when jump blues finished in 55 or 54, 53, rock and roll was already set in motion and would take over. And that's what happened. It's a great story. And this is all jump blues. This is for you. And after World War II, jump blues lifted a lot of spirits and made things right again. Music did heal then, and it can heal now because we've gone through 2 years of pandemic. It's time to heal, and this is one of the ways to do it through music. Why not jump blues? It worked 77 years ago. Why wouldn't it work now? Let's go have a conversation with Duke Robillard. I'm Terry David Mulligan, and this is Mulligan Stew on the CKUA Radio Network. As you well know, we follow and have followed Holger Peterson's Natural Blues for 26 years. As I was telling Duke Robillard, Duke is with me here on camera with Zoom and on audio. You are the guy that takes me from one show to another, and I appreciate that very much. Nice to have you on the show.
Glad to be of help. Nice to be here with you.
How did you handle the 2 years away from touring, playing, having to hunker down? Were you okay? I mean, did you go stir crazy or what?
Well, I did go stir crazy, but I was lucky that just when COVID was coming on, I decided I was going to do an album. And so we really rushed right into the studio and did a blues album called Blues Bash.
Yeah.
So that at least I had something out during the beginning period of that. And then the second year, last year, things were getting a little bit better, but we were still very wary of COVID. So we went in and did our new album. They called it Rhythm and Blues. And we just wore masks and performed in different rooms. And, we did it in the studio, but, a few of our guests did their parts where they live, but for most of it we did it live. But we tried to we luckily we're in a really big space, so we were able to stay away from each other pretty much and not get sick.
The title interests me. One of the words in the title interests me. They called it Rhythm and Blues. It implies that there's no longer rhythm and blues. Like it's a past tense. Tell me about the is in there. Tell me what they called it Rhythm and Blues.
Well, that was done very, very intentionally because, the umbrella of what is called rhythm and blues now is so wide that it really is disconnected. And what I've been championing and loving and playing some of my entire life has been the original form of rhythm and blues, which grew out of the swing era with horn sections and horns, and was basically basic barroom blues, but classed up a bit with horns and jazz-like solos. Yeah. And that style of music was really only about a 10-year period that it was really popular.
Are you talking about from 46 to 52, 53, that jump blues period? Man. That was magic. That was magic.
That's my favorite period of blues in a sense, because when I first heard, say, the Buddy Johnson Orchestra, I went, listen to this band. It's a full big band. They have great arrangements. They have phenomenal horn soloists. They have several different singers in the band. It's blues. It's total blues, but it's got a few more chords to it. It's got really danceable arrangements with great soloists. And it just seemed to have all the elements of what I thought was great about blues. And it just kind of expanded it.
And when they took it out, Duke, as you well know, they put on a show. It was a show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like full tilt. I guess Cab Calloway reflected it with that white tux. That's what I kept. That's captured in my mind. But it was more than that. For example, "Eat Where You Slept Last Night." That track. Who is Zuzu Bolin?
Zuzu Bolin was a Texas legendary blues guitar player, singer, songwriter, and that particular track was his one, I believe, one sort of hit record, at least a regional hit record. And he was very infamous and I believe kind of out of the scene, and they kind of found him and around Houston started, little blues bands would start backing him up and doing shows with him. And they called me down. Actually, Zuzu called me himself early one Sunday morning, woke me up and asked me to come down and make a record with him. Because as he said, because Duke, you're the onlyest guy I know who plays like that. So I said, what can you say to that? I got to go down and play with Zuzu Bolin. And we made a really nice album. And it's good because it reinstated the fact that he existed, but on a worldwide level. Not that it was a monstrous seller. I have no idea how it sold, but it did make him visible as one of the pioneers of Texas rhythm and blues.
Baby, make it. Last night, what don't eat where you slept last night. Get away from my door, else it's gonna be a fight. You've been traveling on me, baby, I'll get you wait and see. You've been traveling on me, baby, I'll get you wait and see. last night. Eat where you slept last night. Eat with me, baby, everything gonna be alright.
You were talking about, while we're at that juncture, Duke Robillard, you're talking about what's happened to the term rhythm and blues. I was looking at the best contemporary blues at the Grammys.
Yep.
Fantastic Negrito, Geneva Magnus, Kenny Neal, Record Company, Joe Louis Walker.
Yeah.
Where do you fit in that contemporary? I mean, you do. I know, because you keep jumping from field to field. Where is your home?
Well, the truth is that all the styles that I have played are all a real part of me. I grew up, I learned to play from Chuck Berry and Duane Eddy and Little Richard and Buddy Holly and people like that. Yeah. So I grew up with early rock and roll. I was growing up as that. I was like 7 as those kind of records were just becoming popular in 1954, 55, you know. And so my brother was 10 years older than me and had all the 45s of all the great rock and roll records. So, you know, I was just there and, you know, he had a guitar and I wasn't allowed to play it. But when he was out on a date or at football practice, because he was 10 years older than me, I was 7 and he's out,
yeah, man.
You know, 17 and he's out on a date or playing football or something, I'm in his room teaching myself to play guitar, you know. And for some reason, nobody in my family ever believed I had any musical talent when I was really young. And my mother was totally annoyed by the fact that I wanted to play electric guitar, because the year I started bugging her about it, you know, Elvis Presley, Little Richard, all the guys that were kind of wild on stage would come on television. It was the beginning of television too, really. But, you know, she'd see people like that on TV and she'd go, oh no, my son is not doing that, you know. So, but I said, but this is what I'm born to do. You know, I knew that when I was 6, I knew that playing music is what I was meant to do. And I didn't have interest in anything else. Plus I got asthma, so I couldn't play sports. So, you know, all of these people Chuck Berry had led to blues because the 2 of his records, flip sides, were slow blues. And the Wee Wee Hours was the flip side of his first record, Maybelline. And that record affected me heavily at like 7 years old, listening to that. And I'd go, what is that? That mood, it just puts you in this mood. And I could tell at 7, you know, that's where I wanted to be. I've never heard anything like this. I never felt like this. I'm getting goosebumps and, you know, I don't know what's coming over me, you know.
Together and we'll have lots of fun. Q. We'll do the cha-cha-cha and the Indy too. We'll dance the bop, we'll dance the slop, we'll do the honey dripper and the turkey trot. But in the wee hours, when the clock strikes 5, we'll be so glad that we're both alive.
We live in the same vacuum, you and I. I was listening to Wolfman Jack, and he was He was playing stuff. XCRB Del Rio, Texas. He was playing stuff that I just had never heard before, and I was up till midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning under the covers listening to this, thinking, "Who is this guy?" It was fantastic,
radio, right?
Huh?
Transistor radio.
Well, no, actually. I took the cover off my radio and laid my alarm on one of the wires, and it became the ground for and all of a sudden I could pick it up. I don't know how it happened, but it happened. It was fantastic.
It's a great story.
And,
things like that don't happen anymore.
And I just realized I was listening to music that nobody else was picking up on. And one of the reasons why I thought jump blues was so cool, 46 to 54, 55, two things. Everybody was celebrating the fact that they survived a world war and they got out. And there was something, right, it was a whole new life. Let's reinvent ourselves. What do you want to do? And the second thing is, somewhere in there was rock and roll. Maybe it was the Fat Man out of Nora, whoever, whatever. But somewhere in there was rock and roll, and it just flowed out.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely how it happened.
And it had.
And I never recognized, when I was young, the difference between the rock and roll, the blues, even big band blues songs, like Glenn Miller's "In the Mood" is basically a 12-bar blues. Certain sections aren't, but that repeating riff thing that was a main structure of early rhythm and blues, like the blues riff repeated and just changing a few notes to match the chords, and that kind of shout thing. Kansas City, Count Basie.
How about Illinois Jacquette?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
The main element.
Jazz at the Philharmonic, and you're right, Count Basie, Kansas City, the whole cutting contest in Kansas City stages, guys going from stage to stage. But what a time to be around and listening and digging it, and that's why.
Well, I never got past that period. I mean, of course, I listen to contemporary music somewhat, and I was in the game as far as the 1980s, competing with other bands, making recordings, playing kind of blues influenced rock and roll in that period of time, and I still play some of that music. I still write it occasionally, and but that's early jump blues period. That's where I live. I've got 7,078s in my basement, and you can find me down there most of the time.
To treat you nice and kind, relax your soul and ease your mind. Here, miss. I said, here, miss, baby. Well, here, miss, baby, won't you take a chance with me? Well, if you wanna be happy, I got news for you. You gotta get hip to the things I do. Here, miss. I said, here, miss, baby. Well, here, miss, baby, won't you take a chance with me? Well, I did everything. I've been everywhere. I bet a $50 bill that I ain't no square. Here, miss. I said, here, miss, baby. Well, here, miss, baby. I bet a $50 bill that I ain't no square. Here, miss. I said, here, miss, baby. Well, here, miss, baby, won't you take a chance with me?
I had just rediscovered John Hammond's Wicked Grin album that he did with Tom Waits.
Oh, what a great,
incredible album. And I'd love to see that John Hammond's here with Homeless Blues. It was the first track I played off the album. How did it come together?
Well, John and I go way back. We met in the 70s on Block Island in Rhode Island, where he had some relatives living, and he was out there visiting him. And I was playing Block Island Inn with Roomful of Blues when we were just starting out. And John came out to hear us, and he flipped over us, you know, and we spent the first night we met, we spent sitting in my hotel room talking about Robert Johnson and Son House and Howlin' Wolf and everybody, you know, just all night, you know, and we've been really good friends ever since then. So, and we've backed John up a lot. My band, we've done tours where John's played solo, and then we play, and then he comes out and finishes the night with us. So we're very close, you know. We're admirers of each other and good friends. And you know, it was just the natural. I just called him up and said, "Hey, John, you want to guest on my album?" And he said, "Of course," you know.
And you and Kim Wilson have known each other a long time?
Of course, yes. But when they first came, the Thunderbirds first came up before they had any records out or anybody knew them. The very first time they came up to Boston, we were playing in Boston, and they came out and saw us, and they were playing the next night in Boston. So we came up from Providence and went to their gig, and we all became really good friends. In fact, I talked to Jimmy Vaughan about 15 minutes ago. He had called me. He's up in this area touring now.
Did you meet Wolf? Howlin' Wolf?
Howlin' Wolf?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got to open for him 2 or 3 times, and I didn't know him real well. I was a really shy kid, you know, for not even as an adult. I was pretty shy for a long time. So I met and backed up all of the guys. They were all alive, and all of, you know, BB and Freddie King and Wolf and Muddy and Johnny Shines, George Monica Smith, you know, everybody was still alive then. So I got to play with all of them. I was really so lucky.
So lucky.
I knew how lucky I was, but I never thought about looking back and saying all those guys are gone, and I played with the cream of all of them, you know. Pretty amazing thing.
Let me do this then. This is Duke Robillard. No Place to Go, written by Chester Burnett, Howlin' Wolf, from the album They Called It Rhythm and Blues.
How many more years are you gonna wreck my life? How many more years are you gonna wreck my life? The way you're doing, girl, you're gonna wreck my life. How many more times, baby, treat me like you do? How many more times, baby, treat me like you do? Take all my money, all my love too. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. I'm going to the stairs, man, I'm nobody knows. And where I go, nobody knows. A youngster, and you can't stand it no more. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby.
That's the Duke Robillard Band. They called it Rhythm and Blues is the name of the album, his latest. You have no idea how many albums you have now, do you?
I think I have 37, I think, in total that are under my name, and then many with other people in a sideman.
You are consistent. It's just astonishing, the output from you. Astonishing.
It kind of is. It's funny, like every year, usually every winter I make an album because things are slower, and if I don't do it now, I've done it so much that I just feel like something's very wrong if I don't make an album in the winter.
Is it fair to say that it was a great fit and an opportunity for Stony Plain and Holger Peterson to come along and partner with you?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding? It's been like it. I don't think my career would probably still be going. I probably still wouldn't be recording if it wasn't for Holger, because he just really believed in all the things that I could do, and he allowed me to do them.
Sure.
Follow my own muse, and it really made a big difference in my life.
So describe, by the way, we don't know the real Holger Peterson. We only know the guy that's on the radio. Describe Holger Peterson as the executive producer. Is he like a Phil Spector walking around smashing things, throwing stuff?
No, as executive producer, basically that means that he, gives me the go ahead to make the record and the funds to make the record. And sometimes we discuss, the direction or the material. I ask him for advice often. And, but the thing is that his enthusiasm, genuine love and enthusiasm. The only guys I could think of that I've met that I know of that might be in the same category as him would be Tom Dowd and Jerry Wexler.
Wow.
How they were such fans of the music. Like Jerry Wexler, when I met him, when he first heard Roomful of Blues, he took me out that night, and him and Tom Dowd took me up to the room that used to be the original recording studio for Atlantic in the early days when they just made those blues records and R&B records, Holger is that type of person, but even more of a fan in a way of music. I shouldn't say that because those guys are really fans of music, but Holger is like, he wears his heart on his sleeve as far as music goes,
Duke Robillard's joining me here on Mulligan Stew. And I'm looking at a couple of things here. First of all, tour dates. Where are you? Oh, April 9, West Yarmouth. So you kick it off April 9. And then I see June the 4th, you're in Italy, in Piedmont.
Yes.
Have mercy.
Yeah, that should be a lot of fun. Actually, I'm going over there with Sugar Ray and the Blue Tones. It's Sugar Ray's band, and I'm going over as guitarist for that. You know, we do quite a bit of work together. Ray was just Sugar Ray Norcia. I'm talking about. He was just on our last week on our 2 CD release shows we had, and Fall River Mass and Natick Mass. They were really well attended, great shows, and we had Ray and Michelle Wilson as guests on it. And actually, Ronnie Earl even came out on the second night and sat in with us. So it was like old times. Do
you know what the summer is going to look like?
Well, we have dates. We still have a lot of dates coming in, and I'm also kind of in the middle of making some business changes. So, but we do have quite a few dates, and I'm sure there's going to be quite a few more. Now that the album is out and getting so much attention, it's getting a lot of attention, and it's, ranking high up on the. Do
you know why it is, Duke? Do you know why it is?
Well, because so many great musicians are on it.
Well, there's that, but it strikes a chord. Its time is perfect, and as you well know, as we've learned over the years, many things in our lives are cyclical. We dismissed vinyl. Here we are back again. Vinyl is outselling CDs. We're going to dismiss CDs, and somehow everything is cyclical. And you have brought back rhythm and blues, the real rhythm and blues, at a time when we really need that same feeling. That same feeling that those young people felt after World War II, that they had survived it. This is the same thing.
Wow, that's a great theory. That's a really great theory, because after this pandemic, and also with potential nuclear war, it actually looming in the distance, it has been a really dark time. And the real rhythm and blues is the most fun music. It's because it's made to dance, it's made to listen to, it's made to drink to, it's just made to have a good time. That's what it's all about.
Sometimes I see hope, then I feel pity. But when it comes right down to the nitty-gritty, you don't pull your weight, you don't even try. I don't see a reason to even say goodbye. So baby, here's the story. I'm cutting you loose, I'm out of here. So out.
just as long as you're gone and in a hurry. I don't mean to sound harsh, don't mean to be cruel. You can't even live by a set of your own rules. You say it's your life, but it's my life too. And you're out of here, woman, so out of here. Yes, baby, pack your things. That's staying right here, honey. Yeah, you can take your clothes. You can even have that diamond ring. Just get your shit and get.
How's the book going?
It's going slow because I've been busy doing other things, gigging and recording and painting, but I do have quite a lot of it done, and I need to get back to it soon and just get it finished.
Is it your whole life, or just
hopefully find a publisher?
Is it about your whole life, or just a period in your life?
No, it's about actually my entire life. It's about starting from my first memory that I have is being in diapers on the kitchen floor listening to big band music on the radio. I can remember that far back.
Have you got
I don't know if everybody remembers that far back, but
have you got any photos? Any photos of that?
Well, it's photos of me being young. I don't not particularly of that. But.
You mentioned a documentary on your fan page. What's going on with the documentary?
Well, I have a producer who's done a few really good documentaries. One on Ricky Jay, the sleight of hand artist.
Yep.
He's like an old school. He's done a documentary on him, and he's done one on what is his name now? Wizard of the Strings. What's his name? I can't think of his name at the moment. But a 1920s guitarist who played ukulele guitar, banjos, steel guitar.
Roy Smeck. Roy Smeck?
Roy Smeck. That's him. Yeah, he did a great documentary on him many years ago. So we're talking and we're looking for funding because, of course, you have to have funding to get that done.
Yeah.
But it started off with someone who had use of really good film equipment and did an interview with several local artists here, and I was one of them. And I was just really at that time working on my book, so I had all my memories of my career really fresh in my mind. So they did an interview, and I just kept going. It was just a good day for me to be filmed. So that is kind of like the basic starting point of the documentary. So
Duke, did you say around 37 albums?
Of my own, yes.
So what's the box set going to look like?
Ooh, the box set is going to be Stoney playing.
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to get all these different labels to work together that way, or somebody's going to put up money. But just in the last 20 years alone of my Stoney playing recordings, I have an incredible album of one would be of very traditional blues and R&B. One would be of original, more blues rock oriented material.
Yeah.
And the third one would be of swing. Swing style guitar, because I've done a lot of that, and I've done quite a bit of that for Stoney playing also. So between all of that, I could have a full album of all three of those genres, and I'm hoping they let me do it. You know, I'm pretty sure Holger is into it.
You know, we haven't talked about the Canadian on the list here, Sue Foley.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Sue's great, and I've watched her develop since she first came down to Texas. You know, it was around the time I was playing a lot with the Thunderbirds and playing in Austin a lot. So I got to know her and watch her grow, and you know, such a fantastic guitarist. And you know, when I asked her if she would guest on this record, she, you know, said immediately yes, and was really helpful. Even got somebody to do her part of our video, because we have a video together of one of the songs, and she found a good person to film her part of the video down there.
So who picked the Mickey and Sylvia song?
I picked that
boy,
because it's a song I always loved and always thought I should do it with somebody. And then when this came up, I went, wow, I think this is the perfect song for us to do together. And it really turned out good.
No Good Lover.
Yeah, great song.
Which one did you do the video for?
No Good Lover.
No Good Lover. Thank you. All right, so we're going to do this. We're going to play this, and we're going to show you we have the video on the Mulligan Stew website. This is Duke Robillard from They Called It Rhythm and Blues, the Duke Robillard Band.
You're a no good lover and you know you done me wrong. You're a no good lover and you know you done me wrong. Oh, but someday, baby, I know you'll come back home.
If you treated me right, I never would have wronged. If you treated me right, I never would have wronged. You can build a mansion, I'll never come back home.
You standing there, so you won't be back. Took all my money, bought a Cadillac.
I'm on my way, I'm away to stay. Goodbye, goodbye, is all I got to say. You're a no good lover and you know you done me wrong. You're a no good lover and you know you done me wrong. Oh, but someday, baby, I know you'll sing my song. Oh, yeah.
Of all the things I've done for you, who think that you would be untrue.
If I'm untrue, don't blame for me, 'cause it was you who made me see that I better get going and move on down the line. I had better get going, move on down the line. Oh, that mean way of yours drives me out of my mind. Keep on moving, move on down the line. Keep
I know I have to leave. I have to go away now because you've got things to do and other interviews and people want to make a fuss. Here's the weird thing about this album. As soon as I saw the title, they called it Rhythm and Blues. I knew it was going to be. I just knew it was going to be good. My gut told me that you had landed dead center where I live and very likely where you live from time to time. And I thought,
well, that's pretty much where I live all the time.
Exactly.
Really.
And you're going to do right by it. You're going to honor it. You're not just going to cover these songs. You're going to live it. You've lived it. You're going to tell the tale.
Well, that's what we tried to do, and it certainly felt right doing it. So, and the world seems to agree now. So I'm
very nice.
Very happy.
So I guess a year from now, when we do this interview, you'll be headed for the Grammys then.
You know, people have mentioned that, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. But you never know, because there's certainly a lot of politics that go into that type of thing, you know.
And we also have to survive the year. Is that your art behind you?
Okay. Actually, it is. Yes. Yes. It's my wife changed the color of this room, and Minnie. That's my dog, Minnie. It's only the mailman, Minnie. So this is. It matches the colors in the room. You know, I just did an abstract that would be large and have all the colors that fit the room. Have you done a show? Do you sell your? Oh yeah, I've done. I think about 3 now, different ones. I have a show actually at the place that we played for our first night of our CD release party, the Narrows in Fall River, Mass. I have an entire wall covered with my art. So we decided to make it a total Duke thing and, you know, have art and music, you know. So that's kind of cool. And also Jeff Kulowak at, I forgot what his, the artist place, the art place he has all musicians' artwork. He's got a couple of my pieces that are, you know, he's got Dylan's art, Neil Young and Joni Mitchell, and all the people that some not known and some known of artists that do visual art also.
Last thought. You and Colin Linden have something in common in that, first of all, you're great guitarists and producers and songwriters, but you both played with Dylan on stage. It's never going to be a pride and joy thing. It's a very workmanlike thing. I mean, everybody has to be on their best work. What was that experience like for you?
Well, it was everything it could be. It was great. It was great recording with him. I was on the Time Out of Mind album. Working with him live was mostly great, except for there were nights when all of a sudden what he liked before he didn't like now, and nobody knows how to change it because you can't read his mind, you know. So, but it was a great experience, and I was very, very happy to have done it. And his legacy? What's his legacy, do you think? Oh, God. Are you kidding? Like, his legacy is America from 1960 on, you know. I mean, that's his legacy. Well, that's why I'm talking to you, because it's your legacy I wanted to honor here. Well, thank you. Get that damn doc done. Much. Get the book done. I'll go on tour. I'm glad you're telling me to do that, because I need to be told. Thank you, Duke Robillard. Thank you for being on Mulligan Stew, and thank you, Holger Peterson, for giving this man a stage upon which to play, and you've taken advantage of it. Well done, and I'm honored to have you on the show and finally meet you and talk to you. Thank you so much, Terry. It's been my pleasure to be here.
Duke Robillard taking us out and he's a guitarist. That's why not just feature his guitar work. Swinging for 4 Bills, the name of that track, the last one on the album. The album? They called it Rhythm and Blues. The Duke Robillard Band, John Hammond is there. Kim Wilson, Michelle Wilson, Sue Foley, Sugar Ray Norcia. And that band's going out on the road. That is a road band, my friends. The executive producer, Holger Peterson. The producer, Duke Robillard. What a great 1-2 punch. On Stony Plain Records, they call it Rhythm and Blues, and I guarantee you, I'll put money on it, they will be at the Grammys next year. Jump Blues. I hope you like that. If you get a chance to go see Duke Robillard live somewhere this year, go. Please go. And take me with you. The tracks I played were Here I'm Is, No Good Lover, Out of Here, that's Duke's song, In the Wee Wee Hours, the Joe Liggins song, No Place to Go, written by Howlin' Wolf, Chester Burnett, sung by John Hammond, Eat Where You Slept Last Night, from the now famous Zuzu Bolin, and Swinging for 4 Bills. I want to thank everybody at Stony Plain for putting me together with Duke Robillard and letting me play the tunes on the podcast. So cool. Interviews coming. One is with Mike Scott from the Waterboys, who have a new album, fine new album, and we're going to find him in Dublin. The Landreth brothers will be coming back to the podcast. There's lots of things going on, lots. Everybody wants to get out of the room and just step outside their front door. Have yourself a great time. Listen, if you want to write me tmulligan@ckua.com, and take care of yourself. Be kind. Be careful.